right. So thanks again for spending the time with us. We've spent the last month now talking to members of our community across the country, and it has been just really eye-opening. Just getting to know you rock stars, basically working for yourself and taking care of clients. And we're really, really curious about how things are going for you, what kinds of things you're up to right now, and what do you see for the future. And we're also just really excited about hearing from you as you talk to the next generation of folks who are pursuing personal training, fitness, who are in it now and maybe struggling and trying to figure out how to kind of bridge the gap. Would love to learn from things that have worked for you.
Awesome. So the first question is what I'm currently doing. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, first, thank you for having me. So especially since the pandemic started and all that, obviously, like I'm a personal trainer. I operate mainly in Baltimore, Maryland. And I also write articles for bodybuilding.com, T Nation. I work for Self Magazine as well. Yeah, so I'm kind of like all over the place with coaching clients in person and also worldwide. Online coaching.
Wow.
Yeah, as well as nutrition coaching, but that's to a lesser degree. When the pandemic started, to be honest, it was I was shocked. Obviously, I didn't know what's going to happen, but I'm the type of person that I'm very proactive and I'm very quick to respond. So literally within a few days, I send a mass email to all of my clients. I'm like, hey, this is the situation. This is what we're going to do. And we literally transitioned and switched everything into an online format. So whether it's Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, whatever it is, like, each client has their own dedicated time and day for training. And we kind of like continue as business as usual. I think the most important thing that I did essentially was giving them a lot more support and a lot more flexibility with time. So that was huge. Just the fact that even if like a 60-minute training session would be literally 30 minutes spending time on asking them how they're doing, how their family is doing and all that. Yeah. That's huge because people want to feel supported. And it's, especially in the fitness industry, it's a lot more about the connection between the client and the trainer and a lot more. That's basically the main thing of personal training, right? It's personal. It goes way beyond what kind of exercise program I can write for you.
Let me ask you this. When people are talking to you about kind of what's going on in their lives, I know sort of in pre-COVID, there was sort of situation normal, but when they're talking to you now, are they looking to you for a solution? Are they looking to you for a listening ear? What are they looking for? What do you think they want in response to, this confidence? They want to
that's all, literally. They just want to tell me how everything is going, how they're feeling. It was very important for me that when I do meet with a client, that it's going to be, again, as personal as it can be, even though it's not in person. Just telling me how they're doing physically, emotionally, mentally. Everyone were hit hard by it. So it's important to provide that support and that obviously accountability. I've had parents that had kids running around all over the place and, and they have to do housework and work and all that. And they're like, hey, I didn't.
Sadly, I'm one of those parents where I'm like, no, don't open the door.
So they're like, hey, if I didn't have the time schedule with you, I would never done. Like, I would just quit doing it. So the fact that I can keep them accountable, that's huge.
It's huge. So which came first? Like, you're the first person we've talked to that is really kind of a media maven and a fitness trainer and clearly a life coach and therapist. But which came first in terms of the media work that you do and the personal training work?
Well, I started obviously in a commercial gym, and then I started my own business probably since the time that I heard about you guys. So probably it's been like over 3 years. Yeah, over 3 years. And then it's kind of like in the fitness industry, I mean, it's an open field, right? Anyone can become a trainer, and that's what I always say. So it's really important to do your research before you spend your hard-earned money on trainers. And in my industry, in the fitness industry, it's very important to if you want people to want to work with you, you have to provide value, and it has to be consistent value. It has to be not once a month, once a week. It has to be like for years. So for years, if it's any social media platform that I, make posts on, Instagram, Facebook, blog posts, anything that I can use my platform to bring value to people, that's what I've been doing for years. And then it's kind of like from then it went, the editor in BodyBuilder.com, like, hey, do you want to work with us? And then T Nation, then Self Magazine was about 3 months ago. So it's always like you have to do the work, before. It's not just one day.
No.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. So
Sure.
you've been in the game for a while and you figured out probably pretty early on that all this stuff was valuable. You have a big personality. You're an extrovert. What would you say to someone who wants to get into this line of work who doesn't naturally have that kind of personality? Like, how can they make that transition? Like, what are some little things they can do just to get used to doing that? Or do you think if you don't have this personality, then maybe this isn't the profession for you?
Are you talking about the online space, or you're talking about in-person coaching?
I'm talking about being a personal trainer and being out there. Like,
okay,
you're across all these platforms, which means you're constantly able to put yourself into the limelight,
Right. To be honest, I have a lot of colleagues that are introverts. So not necessarily, I don't think you need to be an extrovert in order to be successful. You just have to be a friendly, kind human being. And if you make people feel great about themselves and you make them better, then they will stick with you, and they will tell the same thing to their friends. They will recommend you. So I don't think you need to have like a big personality in order to succeed. Actually, there's so many amazing coaches, and one that I personally love, his name is Tony Gentlecore. He's an amazing coach. He's been in the Cressy, the Cressy gym in Boston. They do mainly baseball. It's a world-renowned gym over there. So he worked there for years. He's been one of the co-founders, and I love him. And he's an introvert, and he talks about it all the time. And he's been extremely successful, and he has a small studio in Boston, I know. And he writes, he presents, and I think again it has to do with how you make people feel, and obviously if you get them better, obviously get them to their goals.
Right.
So,
how can you get those skills better? Like say I need to put myself out there. I need to do the talks. I need to, be on the platform. Like, what are some tricks to?
I would say just do it, and don't second guess yourself, because a lot of people have the imposter syndrome, or like, I'm not good enough, or it's been said already, I'm just gonna reiterate everything. And it's not the truth, because you know what? Still general population people, when they want to lose weight, they think running on the treadmill helps. The diet is the last thing that they look at. Or women still come to me and say, I don't want to look bulky. I don't want to lift more than 5-10 pounds. So all of these preconceived notions and all of these narratives that people have been taught for years, it's still there. So that means that there's so much more information and content, and a lot of people that can do all the content creation in order to reach a larger audience and more people. The more people know, the better. The more people create good content, the better. That's how I look at it.
My last question is, how do you keep that content fresh? Like, how do you?
Personally, I usually create content right after conversations with clients. So right after, client tells me something, oh, that's an amazing point, I'll write about it. Or a client tells me anything about misconception, I'll write about it, and then I make a post about it. I can make a video about it. Or if it's not necessarily something that has to do with like diet and mindset, if it has to do with an exercise, cool exercise that today we tried and my client loved it, and blah blah blah.
So Sivan, I know why Sean is kind of hammering on this question. It's because we've talked to a number of fitness pros who have said, I'm not a social media person. And I know there's like lots of energy on social, but I'm just not, that's not who I am. And at the same time, we're hearing that everyone's on social now because they're home and there's nothing else to do. And so it's sort of like, can you not be a social media person in the current world? And so I just curious about you. There's anxiety about being on social, and do I know what I'm doing? Am I being too narcissistic? All these questions in people's minds. What's your thought about that?
I think you need to make sure that whatever you see on your feed is actually positive and it's not negative. I'll start with that. You have to make sure that what you see, because otherwise you wouldn't want to post anything if you see all this negative and people talking bad about each other, you know, especially with everything that's been going on in the world. But I would, again, I even introvert, even people that really really like to be, you know, to themselves and all that, it is part of marketing, and personal trainers are I mean, we have to sell ourselves. There's no way around it. So if you want to be of service to people, you have to make people want to work with you, or help them understand why working with you would benefit them. There's no way around it. And unless you have a whole marketing team behind you.
I know, exactly right. Go home.
But if you're,
Sivan, I have a really technical question for you, because I'm really curious about this, just wearing my PocketSuite hat, which is, there are some personal trainers that do primarily just one-on-one appointments, and there are those that do classes. And then there's those that do both. Is there, like, is there a science behind whether people decide to do one-on-one or classes, or it's just a preference? Is it a income revenue model thing? What drives that decision?
I would say personally for me, I do not offer group training. I think that if you want to make your business systematic, it's important to know that, you know, especially if you want to know like how much money on average you're going to make, it's important to know, hey, I know that this person is going to show up this day and this is how much I'm getting paid. Otherwise, if you offer a class with, you know, low cost class, and you have one person, was it really worth the 45 minutes to an hour? So with me, I do not offer that. With my business, if you ask me, my own personal business, I did systemize. So meaning, like, if I have anyone who wants to work with me, they have to commit for 3 months. So I'm big on building that. 3 months. I know that you want to get to your goals. I want you to get to your goals. I know that 1 week or 1 month, you're not going to see any significant differences. You're not going to learn a lot, because it's really 3 months that you can see some changes. Obviously, I'm not promising anyone to go from point A to the end goal, but you know, realistic expectations is huge. But the good thing is that from what I've seen, people really love it. People are like, oh wow, I love that you offer that accountability. And more often than not, people are like, yeah, I want to renew it, and I want to renew it. You know, so for me, it gives you consistency in income. And for them, they get better and better, and they get to their goals, you know, the longer we're working together.
Right.
And obviously, like, part of the whole, like, my goal is to educate. I'm big on education. So my goal is always to educate my clients to the point that they're like, hey, I've worked with you for a while. I know what I need to do. I can do it on my own. Obviously, there are people that stay because, you know, they love the idea that someone keeps them accountable. They love, I don't know, my interaction, my personality. There are a lot of reasons why clients do stay, even though they know everything already, essentially, right? They if I told them go and work out, they know what to do. They know proper form. They know the idea behind exercise programming and all that. So, yeah, but again, group classes, I think that I'm not against it, but it's just not something that I personally offer.
So can you tell us, because we're always looking for resources for people who are just getting started, if you were to think about your hit list of like educational resources, where you go, what things were like transformational for you? Are there a few names?
100%. I would say first, the Personal Trainer Development Center.
Nice.
PTDC.com are awesome. They have so much information. Really, it's like a gold mine over there of everything from the time that you want to become a trainer, and marketing and types of clientele, and they're amazing there. Obviously, there are a lot of other great coaches that I can recommend. Like I said, Tony Gentlecore, Dean Somerset is awesome. Megan Callaway is awesome as well. There are a lot of coaches. I'm just,
And are you calling out people that you personally like resonate with their message, or is there some success measure that you look for or the fitness trainers look for when they think about somebody who is like a good
both?
coach?
I look at someone that has been successful in their field, and have put out consistent content for years, years, and have established an authority, essentially, because that's if you wanna be successful, you need to establish an authority in your field. And networking is huge.
Another quick question.
Just like any field. Yeah.
If you're coming into this game and say you have the education, the certification, you got all this knowledge, but you just don't know people. Now you have to deal with all types of different personalities, with all sorts of different psychology, and you still have to reach them. That obviously takes time. What are some tricks to understanding different people and how they learn, how to get the message to them?
Well, I think first, as a personal trainer, you have to learn, you have to study more the psychology behind, like you said, and behavior change. I think it's huge. Also, knowing how to talk to different types of personalities. That's also actually in one of the books of the John Goodman. He's the founder of the Personal Trainer Development Center. In his books, he will tell you like 10 types of personalities, and then how to approach, the person who always wants to sweat, or the person that, I don't know, never commits to sessions and always noticing you. Can you hear me?
Oh, we lost you on video. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Or the person that always cancels the sessions last minute. Ooh. So he is actually in his book. I saw it. That's actually a really good resource. But I would just try. Me personally, obviously, not everyone is gonna mesh well personality wise. So it is important that when you do have that introduction, that consultation session, it's important to see if your personalities are compatible, because they can be amazing and you can be amazing. It could be just you're not vibing the same way, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're not a good trainer or they're not a good person, but it is important to have compatibility with personalities and knowing how to talk to the person and all that. 100%.
What I have a fun question. What's your favorite workout routine?
Me?
Yeah.
Heavy lifting.
No way.
I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of old school. I'm like, yeah, strength. Oh, yeah. And that's what I do with my clients. So for instance, if I had a person coming to me and say, hey, like, I want to do HIIT training. I'm like, I'm not your girl. I'm not your person. I'm very systematic with how I coach my clients. And clients that come to me a lot of them are in pain, and a lot of them are referred to me from physical therapists. I have the crowd obviously that wants to lose fat, gain muscle, tone up, obviously, but a lot of my clients still have dealt with issues, and I always want to make sure that they get strong in all the basic movement patterns. So that would be squat, hinging, pulling, pushing. So my workouts are meant for that, essentially increase their strength, increase their performance. But essentially the funny thing is that if you do focus on these things and you clean up your diet, you are going to get to your aesthetic goals.
Right. That's just an afterthought. It's like an afterthought.
Literally. Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you get your first client? This is like the big anxiety point for a lot of people who are just getting started. Like, how do I get the first client?
Okay. So the first client, I just need to charge it. The first client that I got, I think it was back in 2010, 10-ish, 11.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a while. I think my supervisor was like, hey, you just passed the certification. There's someone who needs a trainer.
No way.
I didn't work hard for it so
it.
much. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like, yeah. But after that, I think again, like at the beginning, if you're a trainer, what I would suggest is honestly like train everyone. Literally, like don't say no to anyone, because you want to get as much experience as much experience with training different type of people, different type of personalities, background, age range, and all that. And then the more you do it, the more you kind of see which, I guess, group of people you gravitate to. For instance, with me personally, it's like working moms, that want to feel good, that don't want to be in pain, that want to look amazing, blah, blah, blah. But then I have another group who are elderly. So senior citizens that just want to, have quality of life, pain-free, and all that. So it really depends on what group you gravitate to. But as a beginner, I would say definitely train everyone.
I have one more question. I know Sean has a few.
Sure.
So there's a big question around how someone actually becomes independent. What do you recommend? Do you recommend someone taking a job initially as a personal trainer working for someone else, and then when the time is right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Everyone started that. I mean, everyone started, I always joke with my friends and with my colleagues, like everyone started with cleaning the machines. Everyone, we all did the dirty work. Everyone has to go. I would even say that that would just make you a great trainer. That would make you a great, because you have to, also think of it, if you go and get a certification, or even, you went to school, you got a degree in exercise science, kinesiology, where is your experience from? Who are your mentors? If you want to be, certification, or even I'll say a degree in exercise science doesn't teach you how to be a great trainer. It does not. Where the way that I was taught is seeking out mentors, going to courses, books, workshops, really just putting yourself out there. If you're an introvert and you don't want to go, that's fine. But again, really seeking out the information, certifications, whatever, to make yourself the best.
Okay, I do have a couple questions. What were your biggest challenge in your career, and what's your biggest accomplishment or victory? And it could be a thing you did, or it could be a particular person that you took from 300 pounds to 100 pounds, and anything like that.
The biggest challenge in my career, I would say, for sure, because you hear my accent. I'm not originally from the United States. I was born and raised in Israel. I would say for sure being able to actually coach in English. Essentially, I studied for my certification and for 6 months, and that's how I learned English.
Your English is perfect. I would never.
Thank you. Not perfect, but thank you.
I spent time in Tel Aviv. I was a management consultant, so I lived in Tel Aviv for a period of time. So yeah, I worked for a company called Netafim.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So your English is perfect. Your English is perfect.
Thank you. Good, so we can switch to Hebrew now?
Oh, no.
I took Krav Maga for years. Does that count for anything?
It counts. You get half a point for that.
Okay.
Yes, I would say that was my biggest. And I think, you know what? I'll tell you another one. I think what's hard for a lot of trainers out there is because of social media, you deal with a lot of fitness celebrities, I guess you can call them, because those are people that look amazing, work out, and then don't really know what they're talking about. Let's just say it lightly.
Yeah.
And I think that it's hard because I always say fitness celebrities are not fitness professionals. There's a huge difference. Fitness celebrities are people that like to work out, enjoy working out, and putting out videos, content, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of times, I've had clients come to me, hey, is this something that I should be doing? Or why are we doing this? Or, or why is she doing this? And then when, in terms of form, exercise form. And I think a lot of times, again, people, those kind of fitness celebrities get, I guess, undeserved authority in the fitness field. And I think it's hard for fitness professionals to actually separate themselves. And especially for women, I've had talks, with other colleagues, and they're like, hey, I feel like if I don't show my skin, then people are not gonna, they're not gonna think that I'm a trainer, or I have to look the part to be trainer, which I think is completely not true.
Wow.
But I see your point. If you go to a tattoo artist and they have no tattoos, you're going to have some questions. If you go to a trainer, and I've seen trainers like this, because I used to work at all the time, who just look like a very average build. So is there some importance in looking a bit
I think there is. Look, you should look, I can't say how you should look. You should look you should be healthy. But you shouldn't look like a bodybuilder or like a fitness model. It doesn't mean anything about your skills and your competency as a coach. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I would
not.
echo that. I mean, think about it. There are so many different bodies and builds. There's some builds that will never get to another, like, right? Like if you're
Right.
stocky and you have sort of, bulk, you're never going to be, a petite, right, form. So
Right.
you shouldn't be solving for that. But there is a healthy version of your build. And
Right.
it's
Right.
fitness trainers that mirror that.
Right. There was an article years ago about like, do trainers need to have six pack? Which is, no, they don't. That's not my goal is to help you look better, feel better, move better. How I look has no impact. Now, it doesn't mean that I should lead an unhealthy lifestyle and look like I lead an unhealthy lifestyle. Then obviously no one is going to hire me, and I need to walk the walk to a certain degree. That's what I think, to a certain degree.
How do you convince women that lifting heavy weights actually doesn't make you look like Arnold Schwarzenegger? I've been doing Wendler. I've been doing Wendler 531 for years, and I love it.
Nice.
And I always try to get my girlfriends or now partner on it. They're like, no.
So I'll tell you what. This is what I say. I say, hey, totally understand you. I get it. There's a lot of misinformation and blah blah blah. First I sympathize. Like I'll make you a deal. If you see that at any point you think you look bulky, we stop and you lose all your muscles. Like it's always women that think that it's so easy to gain muscle. And it's so hard, So, and I never had a woman that told me, listen, I think I look too bulky. It's always a matter of either eating too much and then you add more fat, okay, and that can contribute to the bulk, or maybe, I'll go on maybe there are outliers that can get bigger in certain areas, but I've personally never found an outlier like that, but they do exist. But I never had an issue with women. It's always that, I don't know if I should lift weights. I'm like, look, give it a shot. Worst case scenario, you stop and you lose everything. But again, it's not that easy for women to gain muscle. Like it takes hard work, and not only hard work, it takes years. It's not like one day they're going to wake up and they're going to be, sorry, you lost me? Yeah. It's not one day that they're going to wake up and they're going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not going to happen unless they take some extra help. And I don't think any woman will take extra help like that. Yeah. I think I sent you, right? It was you that I sent the article about the article. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. About women.
So one more question, just what do you see in the future? Just given where we are right now, COVID, we're sort of uncertain what's going to happen. And, people are the fear quotient is up, the lack of interaction, social interactions, all of that has increased. What do you think the future looks like?
I think that personal training will never die. That's what I think, number one, because I know a lot of people, that's it. No more training in person. That's not going to happen. People seek that interpersonal communication. I have clients that have all the latest gadgets, the mirror. Have you heard about the mirror?
We have. It's really cool.
She has it, and I'm like, and she hired me literally a month after, and I'm like, I have a question. Why did you hire me if you have it? Literally, you have, and honestly, everyone has access to everything. We're in the information. If you want to work out, you'll find a few workout online. That's not so hard. But she said, like, I want someone to be next to me to tell me if I'm doing the proper form, and to be able to see, to be able to adjust and monitor my progress. And I want someone next to me. So what does it tell you? People want that connection. People want that accountability. It's not enough to have like a mirror, computer, whatever it is that, telling you what to do. So I think that the fitness industry has been hit hard, 100%. But I think it's, you know what? I'll tell you what, I think it's the ones that really focus on supporting their people and building communities that are going to thrive now. That's what I think. Yeah.
I have two last little things. Obviously you said English was a second language for you. You come from another culture. And it's like moving your style from one culture to another and teaching all over the world by Zoom and these things. So you have a really interesting international background. I have, 2 passports and a visa. I do the same thing. So I'm wondering, where you pulled your inspiration or your mentorship from, if you have a really unique story or a person or something that gives you that fire that you don't commonly see in everyday life here, and also mottos and quotes that you live by, I guess.
Okay. I would say that, I mean, I started my own journey, my own strength training journey, because I at 17, 18, I was anorexic. So that was essentially my start for kind of like discovering strength training and building my body and not destroying it. And definitely my grandfather was the one. He used to be a bodybuilder. He lived the healthy lifestyle for years and years. Actually, he recently passed away about 2 months ago, and he passed away at 92. And he was like literally the poster child for what a healthy lifestyle looks like. You know, he did everything right, and he exercised and ate everything in moderation and all that. And I think it was really him that kind of like pushed me to continue doing what I'm doing. And then I realized that I'm very, very passionate about that. And I want others, I want other women, I want other men to feel what I feel, and to see that building your body is actually building yourself and your character and your confidence. And it really does. If you focus on strength training and just bettering yourself, it does have a rippling effect into many, many aspects of your life. Like, it goes way beyond the aesthetic part, and way beyond the physical aspect of it.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Character.
Do you have a motto or quotes or anything
I wouldn't say currently. I don't have anything specifically that I have a motto that I live by. I'm just like, I don't know, my personality is like a go-getter type of personality.
I have one. What's your theme song? What's your like hip hop song?
Yeah.
Oh God, I love. You're gonna laugh. I love. What's his name? Rob Bailey and the Hustlers. You heard of them? I think it's called. I think it's called.
John. Who's Rob Bailey?
Hungry.
Well, Chinwe listens to show tunes, and I listen to like weird, like 70s funk. So we're like collectively. We have an eclectic playlist, but I don't know who that is.
Rob Bailey and the Hustlers. We're gonna add that to the to the editing for this video for sure.
Yeah, usually, yeah. You might, yeah. The wording might not be so.
Okay, PG.
PG-13. Sorry.
That's awesome. It's so fun getting to know you. Thank you so much
Thank you
for being so candid and for just kind of being a pro.
Do you have any jokes?
Stop it.
You know what? Just one.
A joke.
I'm trying to. What joke?
People
I can't think of
telling
anything.
us that, like, as a fitness trainer, they're like, I'm people's life coach, I'm their therapist, and now you want her to be a comedian. Like,
you got to make. Oh, I totally believe you have to make people laugh to touch their heart.
That's true. That's true.
Okay,
so I laugh about myself a lot. Like I'll tell you okay, I'll tell you something funny. So you know how. Okay, so you have the back of your shoulder is called the rear delt, right? Back of the shoulder, rear. So I used to say for years, I'm not even kidding, years, rare steak. No one ever corrected me. And I'm telling you, probably maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, my parents like, Sivan, what are you saying? I'm like, rare delt. He's like, what the hell is rare delt? I'm like, like the back of your shoulder. He's like, oh, you mean rear. So I have a lot of this. It happens to me so many times that like I just butcher words here, so it's fine. Then I laugh it off. And
I would have thought it was a technical term. Like, I'm not going to ask him to look it up because it's like a super technical.
That's funny.
Oh. Well, this is
I will butcher words all the time, but it's fine. I like making fun of myself.
I understood what you meant, and this is for the after lounge, like the B-roll. Have you trained people in Israel and trained people in America? And
No,
not at all?
no, I only train in the States. No, I didn't have my certification in Israel. Nope, zero.
So you need a certification in Israel to train.
Yeah, yeah, but I wasn't like, when I left, I was very young and I wasn't even sure that's what I wanted to do. So when I came here, I got certified. So I did train Israelis here, but it was so weird because when I train Israeli, obviously they want me to speak to them in Hebrew, and just the going back and forth, I felt like my mind was fried. Like I would like mix words, and I would like, it was just very bad. It was bad. I'm like, listen, I don't know how to say basic words in Hebrew in the context of coaching someone. Like I didn't know how to say like squeeze your muscles. I had no idea how to say squeeze. So like squeeze. I don't know how to say it in Hebrew. You know, I never used that word.
I'm originally from Nigeria, and my 3-year-old daughter's always asking me about like words from songs. So they're like squinkly dinkly dink. And she's in Igbo, mom, in Igbo. I'm like, there's no word for that in Igbo. How do I tell her there's no word for this in Igbo? I can't just translate that.
That's cute.
Thank you so much, Sivan.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Thanks for your hustle. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Bye, guys.
Bye now. Thank you.
Take care.